Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how the target Goku category does in the Omega Shenron event. Now obviously target Goku, villains team don't tend to get the love from Dokkan that super teams do. I don't think it's on purpose, it's just that a lot of super teams get buffed by one character. You're getting a Gohan, for example, a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, boosts Goku's family, Hybrid Saiyans, probably movie heroes, because that Gohan will be on the movie heroes category. He'll be on Battle of Fate, he'll be on Super Saiyan, he'll be on Super Saiyan 2, he'll be on, like Saviors, he'll be on like a whole bunch of teams. So it's just really kind of like, the fact that villains are once off per arcs, whereas obviously super characters are kind of like consistent throughout the series. So Gohan is consistently displayed throughout the series, and thus he's a bit easier to kind of incorporate onto teams. That's kind of the thing. Target Goku is actually a pretty solid category. There is a lot of good stuff going on here, and you can actually build some pretty good teams. There's a couple things though. So firstly, kind of big thing about it, at least when it comes to at least when it comes to target Goku, there's three kind of subsects, and I talk about it a little bit in my build of the week video. But you kind of have like android units, and then you also have terrifying conquerors units like int Majin Pick or int Majunia, and then you also have your Wicked Bloodlines units. So they are kind of like this, or there is this idea that the units are all kind of from three different subsects, and so constructing them and building them together does need a little bit of, I want to say, understanding your rotations and link sets. You can't just unfortunately slap a whole bunch of these guys together in a team. You do need to be mindful of your rotations, but in general I still really like this team. There's some super cool units that you can use here. Now specifically in the Omega Shenron event, there's actually some super interesting stuff that's going on here. So firstly, the first phase against Omega Shenron, you can't dodge, but what you can do is you can lower attack, and villains teams, for better or worse, are actually really good at lowering attack. So this team actually handles the tech phase pretty well. It will need to take a little bit of time, so if you're trying to conserve items and things like that, you will need to get a little bit of luck early on, but honestly speaking, the team does really well with this tech phase. The ability to consistently lower attack and defense from multiple sources. I think every unit on this team has some form of attack lowering except for Android 13, which is good. And I think Strength, Hellfighter 17, and Android 17 that turns into Super 17. But like I say, this whole team feels really good from that perspective. Of course, then you move into the strength phase. There it's a little bit more straightforward. The team does well though. We have some really good AGL tanks. So you have like AGL Golden Frieza, the LR, and the base form one. You've got a couple really solid, really exceptional tanks, and they help out the target Goku team a lot. Like they help out the target Goku team a tremendous amount because of the fact that they, can tank in multiple situations, and they have type advantage. AGL Golden Frieza won't be able to tank super duper well the final phase, the LR, unless you've got a couple dupes in him. But he's still very good, still a very good unit, still does an exceptional job. He just doesn't necessarily hold his own later on, but early on he's great. Couple that with his attack lowering, couple that with his attack type advantage, and the rotation is really honestly quite effective. I think he and Strength Kula are still a very strong rotation. You just need to give them or afford them a little bit of time in the beginning to really kind of build up. Of course, we have the Strength Hellfighter 17, Android 17, really good units. Need a dupe, I feel like, always. and the turning into Super 17 can be a little bit frustrating. You do need to be below a certain health threshold. Sometimes it doesn't really work out that well, and then you kind of end up in a situation where, okay, now I haven't hit my health threshold, but basically I'm now sitting in this situation where I can't transform them. And when you can't transform them, it's a real shame, because their tanking ability as Super 17 is exceptionally good. And so when you're unable to kind of use that tanking ability, it does feel a little bit of a shame, especially later on against Omega Shenron. If I had had them transformed, I have a very strong feeling I actually could have won with this team. And the fact that this team can win, I think, shows a lot. I think it's still a very strong team. Yeah, it's a derivative a little bit of basically Terrifying Conquerors with a couple of androids thrown in. But yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. Android 13's Extreme Z Awakening was really good. Maybe not so much against extreme units as it would have been if we're constantly fighting like Goku or something, but still very good. The Super 17 as well, a great addition. The two of them link up pretty well, so incorporating them into the existing kind of stratosphere of Int Piccolo Jr., Strength Cooler, etc., I think is a good call. I think overall it's a very nice kind of productive team. It does a good job. It's got a lot of utility, a lot of different tools. Yeah, I really do like how this team is kind of running at this point. The Omega stage is a little bit of a problem. Of course, the AoEs are always something that gives quite big issues, and it doesn't really change here, unfortunately. Like I said, especially if you don't have Super 17 transformed, it does feel like a bit of a ticking time bomb. If you do, there's actually a lot of really good stuff here. We've got Android 16, 17, 18, who will do big damage, are really tanky, have evasion, and you can transform into Android 16, which is a great physical damage dealer. In this situation, Android 13, as you can see here, is handling normals more than fine, which is really, really good. It's just the strength duo that kind of lets us down, which is a bit of a shame. It's the same with kind of like the Cooler AGL Golden Freezer rotation. Cooler is going to really do a lot of damage, but neither him nor Freezer can take a super attack, realistically speaking, which is always going to be a slight problem. Of course, it's always going to be a bit of a hindrance. They can tank normals relatively fine. So yeah, that is probably the one thing. So that's where I kind of say like Target Goku is kind of like the team that can probably beat this event pretty nicely, but needs how can I say, like items, basically. It's not, at least for me, with the current dupes that I have, the links I have, the equips I have, it feels like a no item run would be far too RNG, like far too RNG dependent. With that being said though, Target Goku is a ton of fun. It's a really good category, and I really suggest that you try it out. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye.